Hi everybody, watch us remove these 2 hard earwax plugs from a patient. There are 2 patients in this video today. The second one's really interesting because we actually managed to relieve that, well, Taylor manages to relieve that patient's tinnitus. So my name is Rhys Barber, I'm one of the audiologists here at Audiology Associates.
And my name is Taylor Green and I'm the other audiologist here. So Rhys's patient first. Yeah, pretty dry, solid plugs we got in this one.
It is. This patient's got just a naturally dry ear canal, so that wax is really hardened up. It's coated or covered with a layer of keratin as well, which is still attached to the canal. You'll see kind of how that forms a bit later on. I can't quite get the grip with the suction just because it's so rock solid. So we're going in with the St. Bart's hook here. I could have got in with the Jobson horn, but because of that layer of keratin around the outside, chances are you would have pushed that plug further back rather than actually bring it out. Yeah. So I'm aiming to try and take the center out of this plug. There we go. And we're just gonna, you can see that layer of keratin all the way around the outside edge there. So I'm having to kind of peel that forward.
Stretching down as well.
Yeah, you got it. So let's get that all the way out.
I've started using the St. Bart's hook a bit more recently.
Yeah?
Yeah. For ones like this, you know, where they're quite dry. Yeah, pretty, as long as it's a gap though.
Yes.
I struggle to use it then.
I know Neil's brought out some new tools. I saw Connor used them the other day actually, weirdly. And I think we're gonna see if we can get some of those and try those out, give those a bash as well, see what they're like. So you can see this big old plug's come away now. It's really hard. There's that drop of keratin off the bottom there. But watch what happens when we pull this little bit of dry skin. You'll see what I'm talking about, this keratin layer. So you can see it's much thicker. It's that kind of yellowish color. It's more classic keratin. But when you kind of peel down the side, watch how this peels from the canal. Look at that. That is basically the surface layer, that epithelial layer of the canal wall there, has just died off those skin cells, and we've ended up with this really kind of dry, all the skin cells are dried out, so there's more keratin, not more keratin, but there's a higher concentration of keratin in there then, and that's what's caused this problem here. So basically we'll be advising this patient, use some olive oil on a regular basis, because this goes all the way down, and this actually goes right over the top and the attic, down over the pars flaccida. It's every portion of it. Look at that coming away. What started off as that tiny little bit at the entrance to the canal has now turned into an entire canal peel all the way down. But you will see, if you check out that top right corner of the skin as we pull it, look how it flops back. So you can see it there. You can hardly see anything at all apart from a one little lip. But then watch as we just lift it. Yeah.
Like, oh, it's gone.
It fell out on its own. But look at that coming away now.
Yeah, they're so thin, and they're quite tricky normally because you can't really get a decent. No. You've got a good grip there actually because you were lucky that there was a bit extra there. But yeah, it normally whistles. It's horrible.
If it's you find if it's that tiny little bit that's come off the side, that's such a difficult one to do because you really want to minimise the risk of clarinetting, but it's so hard to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
So no, this is still my patient.
Still
this
yours.
Is the other ear. So we can see this plug has got this sheen to it. Patient's been using a little bit of olive oil in here just to soften, and it does make a difference. I know we talk about olive oil all the time, but it does make a big difference in the ear canal, especially if you're going to have something like this done. If you're preparing to have your ears microsuctioned, olive oil is your best friend. If you're preparing to have your ears irrigated, sodium bicarb, all right? But don't use it for too long, only about 3 to 5 days. You shouldn't really use it for longer than that, just to soften that wax up before it comes out. It does make a massive difference.
Oh yeah.
Makes both those much easier to do, both those procedures. Nice hard plug again. Difference is no keratin on the canal.
Nice little golden nugget there.
There was. Lovely looking eardrum.
Nice and healthy.
It is. Yeah. Really good light reflex there. So just over an inch.
Just under.
About an inch.
Yeah, just under 2.5 centimeters by the looks of it.
So this next patient is yours, and this is a really interesting one, isn't it? Because it's this patient with you.
Yeah, so patient came through to see myself, just kind of in desperation, really. Has been intermittently struggling with quite obtrusive tinnitus on occasions. This patient has had wax removed before, but I think it was around 20 years ago, she said, and it was a pretty uncomfortable experience.
Oh, no.
So it's kind of put the lady off from having it done again. Now, up until very recently, just before coming in to see myself, the patient hasn't actually used any drops at all. Patient did start to use some drops following a visit to a GP, but as she said, as soon as the drops went in, it just made things like 10 times worse. So obviously a bit of a panic on then. So yeah, patient was really nervous, bless her, coming in to see myself, having issues. Like I said, the tinnitus was probably at its worst. The hearing was affected as well. Now you can probably see those telltale signs of cotton buds, and obviously this has been, ongoing for possibly quite a few years. I've got the fine end on here. You're probably wondering why I'm using microsuction when the patient's reported tinnitus. I've stuck with the fine end, but I've also turned the suction power down just to try and keep it as low as possible, to keep the patient comfortable. It's a bit of a tricky one, to be honest, because at this point I don't know if the tinnitus is purely caused by the compaction of the wax. Chances are the patient's probably got tinnitus anyway, but it's just been exaggerated from the wax. So I'm just probing around this plug here just to see if there's any loose, if there's any give to this plug. That's a bit of a tricky one. I always kind of hate doing these with fine ends because they're always very, very tricky.
It's not the ideal tool for this particular type of wax, but it's the ideal tool for this particular patient set of circumstances. Too difficult to get in there with curettage tools because it's too close to the eardrum. If you go in there with the standard size ulnar tube, it's a lot noisier. So the fine end, less air drawn through the tube, so it is a lot quieter, and especially when you turn the suction power down as well. So it does make a difference. Yeah. So we always tend to check with our patients that they're comfortable. We're not causing any discomfort. You can pretty much tell if someone gets a little bit uncomfortable anyway. You can usually either tell by facial expression or the movements. But you usually feel that because you've got your bridge. If somebody tenses, you feel a cheek rise a little bit. So you go, "Oh, you okay?"
But fair play. Patient sat through through the whole thing, didn't move at all. Actually found it quite a nice experience, which was good to hear some feedback afterwards.
It's nice to undo that kind of fear that the patient had from their last session with a different audiologist. So it's always nice just to, and this is all the point, we're always really cautious with our patients. We try and make everything as gentle as we can. Yeah.
And you can just see how much of that was actually squashed down into that recess. Now, a little bit of a wiggle now. We've pretty much got this one cleared. The patient afterwards actually wanted to see me again in 12 months. So wanted a recall.
And that's what you want. You want that patient to start, looking at them, so they don't get to this stage again. Bless them. They've put off getting this sorted out because they had such a bad experience on the first time. They?
Nice and healthy afterwards. After taking all that wax away, nice and clear as well. Exactly the same on the other side. We're just going to go in and do the same thing as we did on the other ear. So we're going to try and lift this piece of skin, you can see, or very, very dry wax. See, hairs are a bit more dense on this side and it's a bit closer to the wax. So there are going to be portions of this ear which are going to be quite difficult to see. Sorry, guys.
It's due to the way the endoscope is made. You've got a certain what they call focal length on the endoscope, so you've got a certain distance where you get the best and the clearest view. But sometimes the anatomy of the ear doesn't allow you to stay at that distance because either you get little hairs in the way or you've got to hold the ear canal open a little bit so you get it a bit further. With this patient with the tinnitus, how long did they have this tinnitus for?
It's been on and off intermittently. I think the patient said for at least 10 years.
Wow.
Not straight after their last wax removal, but I think it's more so when, it would more than likely when this started to compact, to be honest, because it said the patient was saying it was intermittent, so obviously these little plugs that were in there had been, moving around slightly, so they've been blocking, unblocking. As I said, no drops have been used up until now. So... And the patient actually was quite reluctant. They used the drops once and didn't want to use anymore, which is understandable, but it makes things feel worse. You don't really want to be using any more of them.
No, that's right. It tends to block any gaps around the wax, or sometimes it gets absorbed by the wax and the wax will swell. So it gets worse before it gets better. And a lot of people report, my hearing got worse when I put the drops in. It will for probably a couple of days until it starts to loosen, and then you'll start to notice it coming away a little bit better or shifting position. Tinnitus is always a difficult one for patients, and my advice or our advice is always, if you have tinnitus, seek some advice early. Don't let it kind of carry on. Go and see an audiologist, chat to somebody about it, because there is so, up until a few years ago, there were so many professionals, even GPs, were saying, oh, there's no cure for tinnitus, just got to get on with it. Yeah, I understand why they're saying that. Everyone gets tinnitus, but it's a perfectly normal part of the hearing system. It's just what happens, and some people can deal with it a little bit better than others. But at least you'll get some good advice, and there are lots of tips and tricks out there you can use to help to manage your tinnitus more effectively. And I think that's the key to it. Is it's okay to say, well, okay, there's no cure, but there are management options out there, and that is something you really do need to look into. So if you get it, go and see an audiologist early on. You look at this patient, prime example. Compacted wax and
just compacted wax. The problem is, I think, with tinnitus, there's so many different kind of triggers for it. There's so many reasons why you can get tinnitus. It's not just from wax blocking up. There's many reasons. It could be noise related, could be hearing loss related, could be medication related, could be from an operation, damage, list goes on.
It can just be spontaneous as well. Some people really want to know that, the why of why have I got this? Why is it going on? And sometimes you just can't answer. It's just a spontaneous thing. It just happens in some people, unfortunately. Luckily, not many people with intrusive tinnitus, though. Lots of people get tinnitus, but it's a small number that you see out there that have that really intrusive tinnitus.
No, we actually have a bit of a fight on by here. We've got it close to the entrance. One of the other reasons I couldn't use curettage when it was sat up against the eardrum, the patient's the sort of first bend, the entrance of the ear is very sharp, so it would have been quite difficult for me to get the right angles. So we've got the Rosen inserter just to pop this out. Patient instantly, as soon as I turned the machine off, the suction machine, patient just sat there sort of in silence for a couple of seconds and was like, oh my God, I can hear my own voice. The tinnitus is basically gone.
Oh my God.
It's almost in tears, actually, almost in tears.
That's lovely, isn't it?
It's just been so long since, so long as patients had the issues. And as soon as that's kind of relieved, that's crazy. It's a lot to take in for some people.
But you look at that, that patient's been suffering for 10 years.
At least 10 years.
At least 10 years. And that's just doing that 10 minutes, 15 minutes there, and that patient's tinnitus was massively improved. Yeah. This is what I mean, guys. If you have, this is why it's really important. If you have any issue with your ears, come along and see an audiologist. If you'd like to come and see myself or the Mr. Taylor, or the lovely Mr. Taylor, check out the link tree in the description. You can reserve an appointment online these days. Come in and see us. If you're suffering with your ears for any reason, come along and get it checked out. Don't put it off. Sometimes there can be such a simple solution to the problem you're having. This is a perfect case in point. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. I know I talked a lot
we have babbled on this one.
We've waffled a bit on this. We kind of got off tangents from the wax, but I think it's really important information for you guys to know. But if you do enjoy the videos, then please like, heart, share, follow, and subscribe. And as always, guys, take care of yourselves.
Take care of your ears.
And take care of one another. And if you've got ear problems, make sure you get them checked out. And we shall see you for the next video.
Yeah, we won't bite. Don't be nervous. We don't bite.
Oh, the last thing you may have seen on social media, we're advertising for another audiologist. If you're an audiologist or a hearing aid dispenser watching this video and you're thinking, oh, do you know what, that sounds like an interesting place to work. We are a lovely team. We're now an award-winning, now we've always been an award-winning team, but we've got another award at the moment. But guys, if you are an audiologist or a hearing aid dispenser looking for a change of pace to your job coming along, we are advertising for a full-time audiologist. So if you are interested in that, please come along and fill out the form and come and see us. Until the next video, bye everyone.
Bye.